Hi everybody, this is Michael Hildebrand and I'm your host on the Sleeptrust podcast, where I'm talking about how to gain back trust in your ability to have a superb sleep again. In this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast, we're going to talk about Primetime drinks. And this is a special episode. I'm not going to record it in one piece as I usually do. I'm going to actually test pilot the 5 drinks I'm going to recommend here. And I'm going to give you a first impression exactly 20 minutes after I drink that drink. And that's going to be exactly before I go to bed. And then you're going to get the next impression right first thing in the morning when I wake up to tell you how I feel. As I'm going to do the recording of those tests in the living room and not my little sound studio, the sound quality may suffer a little bit, but I'm sure we're going to get along with that. So let's have a look at the 5 primetime drinks that I picked and will test pilot for us. And please keep in mind that this is kind of a fun experiment and it's a very subjective experiment too, as what is good for me may not be good for you. And there are maybe drinks involved that you should not drink every evening. So let's come to the 5 drinks. Drink number 1 is cherry juice. Drink number 2 is valerian tea. I'm a little bit afraid about the taste of that one, but we'll see. Drink number 3 is apple vinegar and honey. We had that one in the Tim Ferriss tips. Drink number 4 is a glass of wine. Looking forward to drink that. And drink number 5 is a cup of coffee. We'll see how that works. But I thought, if you tried everything and nothing worked for you, maybe a cup of coffee is the controversial solution for you. I'm definitely going to test pilot that and see what for an effect that has on my ability to fall asleep and to have a good quality sleep. I'm sitting on the sofa right now and just enjoyed an 0.4 liters glass of cherry juice, which was quite delicious. And cherry juice contains melatonin, which is the reason why I picked this one. So you're going to hear me in 20 minutes, which is only a second away from you, and I'm going to tell you how I feel just before I jump into bed. The 20 minutes are over, and I wouldn't say that I feel more tired than I would have been if I just drank a glass of water. But we'll see how the night's going to be, and I'm going to tell you tomorrow morning, which is going to be in a second for you. Good morning, Sleep Trusters. So you're part of the 5 a.m. club now. It's 5:05, and I just want to let you know how the cherry juice went for me. I'm kind of feeling okay, but what was really strange is I woke up twice this night, and nothing really bad. First time I kind of had a big kind of a soap bubble still in mind. Don't know if I dreamt something or what, but it was quite easy to fall asleep again right away. And the second time, that was really strange. I got up, unhooked my smartphone from the power, and thought, okay, it's time to get up, and looked at the clock, and it was 3 a.m. So I thought, oh my God, it's much too early. So kind of thought the alarm clock went or something like that, and it was at least I thought it was time to get up. So that left me with another 2 hours of sleep, which I was quite happy to take, and I fell asleep right away, so no problem there. But to wake up twice is kind of unusual for me, even though I fell asleep right away. So that's my takeaway for this night and the cherry juice. I fell asleep right away, woke up twice, got to sleep again, and I'm feeling quite okay. Now I'm going to have my walk, and then the day is going to start for me. So I'm going to let you know what we're going to have this evening together in, just a second for you. So we're into day 2 of the primetime drink experiment, and I already brewed a cup of valerian tea for me. The tea bag had to stay in the cup for 15 minutes, and I really hope this is not going to taste as evil as I'm afraid it will. So I'll let you know how it went in 20 minutes right before I jump into bed. And I'll also let you know how I feel right before I go to bed, if it makes me drowsy or not. So here you in just a second for you. That's me back, and you're getting the last words of the day. So the 20 minutes, or it's already 25 minutes, are over. And I would say I feel maybe slightly more relaxed. I'm tired anyway, I was before, so I don't really notice a big difference in that. But I'll jump into bed now and let you know tomorrow morning how the night went. So this is me, just gotten up after a night of sleep that started with a cup of valerian tea. And I must admit that the taste wasn't as bad as I thought it could be. I put in a spoon of honey, though, and I fell asleep as usual. Maybe was a little bit, felt a little bit more relaxed before I went to bed slightly. And I had a good night of sleep. Did not wake up everything good there. Yeah, so let's see what we're going to test tonight. I'm not quite sure. I think I'm going to decide this tonight. So I'm going to decide this tonight, and we'll see what it will be. So we're starting into the third day of our little experiment here, and as it's Wednesday, I was thinking it would be a good idea to have a glass of wine, but I decided to save that one up kind of for Friday. And we'll go with the vinegar with honey tonight. And I already prepared it, spilled a little bit of vinegar on the floor, so the kitchen is smelling quite well right now. And I'm going to drink it in a couple of seconds. By the way, it smells better than I thought, probably due to the 2 spoons of honey in there. And I'm really curious to see how it tastes actually. And I'm going to tell you in just a second for you. So it's 20 minutes ago since I drank the vinegar drink, and I can say that it tastes better than I thought. It's kind of sweet because of the honey in there, and I feel, yeah, I'm not sure. I think a little bit more relaxed than I was before, kind of like with the valerian tea, and I'm gonna go to bed in 2 to 3 minutes. So I'll let you know how this night went for me and how fast I fell asleep, and you're gonna hear me tomorrow morning. That was it for the apple vinegar night. I'm just got up and really looking forward to have my walk now. I would say I fell asleep super good, and I had a good night of sleep. I think, in the retrospective, I would say the valerian tea was a little bit kind of had a bigger effect on me, but it was kind of calming, and it didn't taste as bad as I thought it would. So that's a big plus point for me. So we'll see what's going to happen tonight when I'm going to test the coffee, basically. So that's going to be really crazy, and I'm really looking forward to do that. Okay. Hear you later. So it's almost bedtime again, and tonight I'm gonna drink the coffee. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to do that and see how that's gonna work. And I hope I'm not gonna be up all night. But you kind of if you're somebody who already tried this and that, you may want to think out of the box and try a coffee before you go to bed. Why should that not work for somebody out there? So I'll tell you in 20 minutes how I feel after I drank the coffee, and tomorrow morning, of course, how my night went. So the 20 minutes are over now, and I'm about to go to bed. I do feel that I drank a coffee and not one of these vinegar honey drinks, but I'm kind of tired anyway, and I hope that I'm going to fall asleep right away. But I will tell you first thing tomorrow morning, and then we'll find out how that night went for me with the coffee last thing at night. Wakey, wakey. Good morning. So I'm up after a night that was completely okay for me. So I went to bed. I could feel that I kind of was a little bit more awake in my body, But I was tired and I went to bed and I fell asleep, even though I drank that coffee, and I had a good night of sleep. So that's the result for me with the coffee. Even though this is the case, I'm certainly not going to start drinking coffee right before I go to bed as a new habit or something like that. But that was quite interesting. And tonight, I'm really looking forward to my glass of wine. I kept this one for the end of the test, and it's Friday today, so it's going to be the start into the weekend for me, and I'm really looking forward to that, of course. So let's see how that goes tonight. It's the last evening of our little experiment here, and I'm, as you know, up to drink the last primetime drink, which will be a glass of wine, and I'm really looking forward to that. That's kind of the hard part of the experiment. You see what I do for you to test these primetime drinks. So I'm really looking forward actually to have that glass of wine. And I'm going to be back to you in, let's say, 40 minutes, because I kind of want to enjoy this glass of wine. It's not only the last day of the experiment, it's also Friday. So I'll say I'll be back in 40 minutes, let you know how I'm going to feel just before I go to bed, as I did the last couple of days. And of course, you're going to get a little feedback in the morning again. And then we're going to bring this test to an end. So yeah, hear you later, or in a snip of a finger for you. Okay, so I'm back now, and yeah, I can tell you it was not only really delicious, but I actually do feel that I got tired, and I'm really looking forward to go to bed now. So let's see how that night goes, and I'll tell you tomorrow morning. Up and running again after I had that glass of wine yesterday, and I really have to admit that the wine made me really feel tired, and I fell asleep right away. Getting up, I would say I had a really slight headache, kind of, and do not feel as rested, I would say. I know after my walk, I didn't have that yet. It's 5:05 a.m. right now. After my walk, I'll be fine, but I'm not that rested, definitely. So let's wrap up this episode together and see who actually won the test. So when falling asleep, I would definitely let that wine is definitely number one for me. That was really making me tired. Number two, there are kind of two bedtime drinks. The valerian tea and the apple vinegar kind of both calmed me a little bit, but I would say the valerian tea was maybe slightly better. This is also true for my wife. She definitely told me that the valerian tea worked better for her. Then on number three, it's the cherry juice, which basically didn't have an effect at all on me falling asleep, and the coffee, which kind of got my body a little bit more awake, but I was tired, and I was able to fall asleep. But I could not really surprisingly imagine that if you're a little bit more sensitive or would have problems falling asleep, that this maybe would not really help you. But on the other side, and I really mean what I say, if you already tried kind of a lot of stuff, you might give it a try. You really have to think out of the box, and you've got nothing to lose. So you may want to try this on a weekend. Then let's come to the sleep quality. In terms of the quality, the picture looks a little bit different. So I would give the valerian tea the number one for me. I had a super quality, got up on time, and everything was great. The apple vinegar on number two, which had kind of the similar effect for me, but my wife actually didn't sleep that good. Then there would be the cherry juice, which kind of let me wake up twice, once because of a dream, and once I just got up, woke up at 3 o'clock. I still don't know why, but I had no problems to fall asleep again, and I was kind of rested in the morning. So no big issue. Number 4, because is the coffee, which led my wife to have 2 bad dreams in that night. Well, of course, we're not really sure if that's related to the coffee, but it's kind of unusual for her. And then on number 5, the wine, which was best to fall asleep because it really made me feel more tired. But it did leave me with this feeling of an additional hour of sleep would have been okay too, kind of. And it's not really hard because it was 1 glass, so you shouldn't, and it wasn't a big beer glass or something like that of wine. It was a wine glass, so just to be clear. And that leaves us with a winner. And the winner in regards to fall asleep and sleep quality is actually the valerian tea. Who would have thought that? I really thought that stuff would taste so incredible horrible that I would never give this one the number 1, but you see how things can go. You just have to test it and then you may come to that conclusion too. And number 2 for me is the apple vinegar, which kind of let me sleep good and had a good taste. I was really surprised about that. Number 3, the cherry juice for the coffee, and last place for the glass of wine, unfortunately. But that's how things go. So I hope you enjoyed this a little bit different episode of the Sleeptrust podcast, and that you try to start to test things on your own. And next week's episode, we are going to talk about sleep commitment, which is kind of the foundation of building up your sleep trust. So I would be really happy to hear then. And until then, have a superb sleep. Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Sleeptrust podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to get further information on this podcast or material that will help you to gain back your sleep trust, please check out sleeptrust.eu. That's sleeptrust.eu, where you will get lots of information around sleep. And here comes some legal stuff. Everything on this podcast is my opinion only, so do not take it as an advice, as I am not a doctor, nor have I considered your personal situation. If you feel that you need medical advice, please consider getting an appointment at your doctor of trust. If you want to give me any kind of feedback on this podcast, feel free to email me at podcast@sleeptrust.eu. I hope you tune in again next week, and until then, have a good sleep.